The Toyota 4Runner is about to arrive in an all-new iteration. This 6th generation model offers a healthy variation in trims, 2 different powertrains, and plenty of capability waiting to be untapped or already on board right off the dealer lot. We already knew a lot about it as Toyota showed off plenty of 4Runner details earlier in the year. Now though, we know how much this thing is going to cost. The 2025 Toyota 4Runner has what I'll call polarizing styling. When it was first shown in pictures and video, I didn't really love it. In reality though, as I've now seen a Trailhunter and TRD Pro version in person, it's better. Much like the Tacoma, the styling improves depending on the trim, and the Trailhunter version looks good. There are still a few too many creases and folds, it's still overstyled, but again, like the Tacoma, it's growing on me the more I see it. That said, let's dive right into the pricing. The 2025 Toyota 4Runner starts at $42,220. That's for the 2-wheel drive SR5 base model. So we're talking about rear-wheel drive, and you're working with the 2.4-liter turbocharged powertrain devoid of any of the hybrid bits. Output is rated at 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque, and that torque peaks down at 1700 RPM, which is pretty nice. Even though it's the base model, the SR5 still gets LED lighting, it gets the power rear window in the rear liftgate, all of the safety features, and wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. So if you want a 4-wheel drive SR5, just add $2,000 to the starting price. You only need to climb up one trim to the TRD Sport to get the digital gauge cluster, heated side mirrors, and a wireless charger, but it's a pretty solid price jump of nearly $6,500 to get there, and then another $2,000 if you want to go from rear-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive. At the other end of the 4Runner spectrum, we have the 2 more focused models, the Trailhunter and the TRD Pro. These are both iForce Max hybrid only and obviously 4-wheel drive only. They're also obviously going to be pretty spendy, but you're getting what should be a capable machine out on the trail as long as you're not filling them up with a bunch of extra gear, and that is a caveat we have to talk about. First, price though. Toyota actually gives them the same starting price, which makes sense to me. The Trailhunter and TRD Pro both start at $68,350. That's a wild jump over the price of the outgoing 4Runner. The 5th gen finished with a price spread of just under 42 on up to a bit over 56K. Granted, the 6th gen is a strong leap forward in terms of potential performance, but that's without getting into any of the reliability concerns some folks will have with the hybrid setup. That's a crazy thing for me to say when you look back on what Toyota has delivered over the decades it's been producing hybrid vehicles. Until now, they've been rock solid, and I truly believe these newer hybrids will be too, eventually. But I also understand why some shoppers might be hesitant. All that said, a nearly $70,000 4Runner is a wild thing to me, and that's before dealers start slapping markups on them. If you're considering paying what could be $80,000 once you're out the door for something with a payload capacity of just over 1,000 pounds, you should probably examine your use case for this thing. Or just buy a GX550 Overtrail since it has more payload, a nicer interior, and in my opinion, looks better too. You might hit the gross vehicle weight rating just by putting you and your family in it. That's not a joke. Forget adding your powered fridges, rooftop tents, and that high lift jack you know you're never going to actually use. The non-hybrid TRD off-road is closer to a 1,400 pound payload. So if you want to build it up into an overlanding machine, that might be the one to look at, especially since it starts at just $50,640. Or I have another suggestion here. You could always pop on over to Autotrader.com and start pricing out low mileage, unmodified 5th gens. Just a thought.